Good morning. Good morning. I want to welcome everyone for being here and thank everyone for being here this morning. I want to particularly thank someone who took the time to support local athletics and recognize the importance of sports and scholarship. And that person is everyone here today who took the time to get up very early on a Saturday morning. So thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. Last year we had, very fortunate to have Doug Baldwin as our guest speaker. Doug did a great job. Becky and his wife both showed up very early and appreciated that as well. Today we're going to hopefully build on that great foundation. We don't have the same institutions in South King County that you find in the east side or downtown Seattle, but we still have the same needs. And our goal is to support our programs. When I first got involved with some of the local teams, I found out that some of the needs to go to invitationals out of state, backdrops for baseball or softball, support for the bowling team. All these programs needed help, but it's very difficult for some of our local school districts, which are really tight in the belts. So this foundation was created to create an endowment to help our local sports programs. And I really want to thank all the organizationals that are involved here, including the table captains. So could all the table captains please rise? Terry from Comcast, come on, everybody please rise. Joe, please rise. Thank you. I'd like to begin now with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to have Yada Reed, Coach Reed, and the Federal Way High School basketball team help me lead off in this Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Okay.
I don't know where the flag is.
Just a second. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck, you guys, this year. Thanks. At this time, I'd like to begin our program with an overview of why he thinks sports and academics go together. We're very lucky to have an individual who actually helped coach Little League here in Federal Way, but today is the superintendent of the Auburn School District. He understands the role of sports as a father, a coach, and most importantly to those of us in this audience as a superintendent. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Alan Spichavi.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for being here and supporting this great cause. I'd like to start with two acknowledgments. And the first is we saw some of our fine student athletes, but if we could have all of our student athletes from Federal Way and Auburn and everybody who's here, please stand and let's give them a round of applause. And there is an equally, if not more important group here, and those are our coaches. So if you're a current or former high school coach, Little League coach, if you've coached, please stand. Let's give you a round of applause. So Pete is right on the money. Athletics and activities go hand in hand with academic achievement. And I've been reflecting on that relationship recently. In fact, last night I was telling my two teenage sons that I was excited to be here. And I mentioned that Steve Rabel is the MC today. And I said, you know Steve Rabel? And they said, yeah, I think I've heard of him. And I said, well, go on YouTube and search Steve Rabel Beastquake. And they said, oh, that guy, he's awesome. Kids are a little different today. They grow up in a different time. But you know what? School sports are as relevant today as they ever have been because they build community. They bring people together. They do what facilities like this place do. They take kids and young people and community members from different walks of life and build a shared purpose and build community rather than some of the divisiveness that all too often we see today. But I want to give, I know it's early and it's summer break, I want to give a pop quiz. And the question is this: who has a higher GPA? Are student athletes or non-student athletes? And before you answer, consider that our athletes spend 2 to 3 hours a day in practice. They spend an hour a day in the weight room typically. Many of them run or they do position drills. Some of them are on a club team that practices a different sport on the weekend. Some of them have jobs. Now think about the time it takes to be a good student. Who do you think has a better GPA? The students and the coaches that I just introduced know the answer. And that's our high school student athletes. They have a focus, they have time management skills, they have a commitment to each other, and they have coaches. Every single high school coach I know emphasizes academics first and athletics second. It's always that exception that gets you. So thank you for being here. What you're doing makes a difference. What our coaches and our sports programs do make a difference. And I know that our community is stronger for school sports. I couldn't imagine our high schools without it. Thank you for being here.
Dr. Suchadi and I did not compare notes, but his remarks actually lead into our one of our special presentations today. You know, over the past few years, I've been really privileged to work with a lot of different teams here in the region, but I've been really pleased, in particular, working with the Federal Way High School basketball team, with their coaches and the players and the parents. And today we want to recognize one particular player who stands out, literally and figuratively, because of his commitment to academics as well. I, again, did not appreciate Alan's remarks until I looked at some of the grades. The average grade of the Federal Way High School basketball team is 3.2. 3.2. And these young players have been very active in our community and very involved in the last 2 years and 3 years in regional activities. I first got involved when the coach came to me and wanted help to go down to the Mesa Invitational, which was in Arizona, where they dominated. And as many of you know, last year they dominated in New York City, Las Vegas, and on ESPN. And so during that time, I had the privilege of watching one player in particular as this team achieved such greatness, not just here in our region. And when he was chosen for the McDaniels All-American team, he was chosen not because just of his skills, but quite frankly, he brings a lot of balance to his game. And we want to recognize him, and through him, the incredible senior class of the Federal Way High School team. And I want Jaden to come up here if he could. That's why we put the microphone up here, Jaden. To be selected for the McDaniels All-American is phenomenal, and he brought great credit to himself, to his family, to his friends, to Federal Way, and to this community. And Jaden, on behalf of the foundation, we want to congratulate you. We also have recognition to this. We have, this is going to be helpful getting around school, and then this, and a Starbucks card. Do you want to share anything? Any comments? Faster, worse, please. Jaden's action speaks for itself. Another person whose actions speak for themselves is our MC today. He, for many of us of a certain age, is best known as 83. He played for the Seattle Seahawks. The disadvantage was there was another Steve whose number was 80, who played at the same time. So he played 6 years, I believe, in the NFL and did a great job in that capacity. And then a guy named Wayne Cody talked him into getting on the air, and he became the sports person for Cairo. And today, I don't know how many years he'll share with that, he has been the anchor for Cairo TV, the CBS affiliate. But on top of all that, he has also been the voice of the Seattle Seahawks. But all those things beside, the most important thing is that this gentleman, who I've had the privilege of meeting back in the 1970s, the most important thing about Steve Rabel is that he's got a partner named Sharon, and the two of them have given hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours to support nonprofits in this region. Steve gives back, and this morning he's giving back to us to come all the way down here. And I want to thank Steve Rabel for not only being a great football player, a great anchorman, but most importantly, a great humanitarian. He has done so much for our community. Steve, thank you very much.
Pete, thanks much. You should have included in there friend too, because you're right, we have been friends for, gosh, 40 plus years now, along with Jim and that guy named Largent, who whatever happened to him, by the way? Something about Hall of Fame. Right about now, I am probably still rolling over in bed, resting, trying to adjust the little mask that I wear to keep the sunlight out. Because normally I get home at midnight after the newscast. I get to bed about 1 or 1:30, and then I get up about 9 o'clock because the dog is scratching and saying it's time to go out. I was up this morning before I knew there was time. I didn't know it actually existed. There was I missed that in science class, doctor, that before 9 o'clock in the morning, people do stuff. This is foreign to me, but it was lovely. It's great being here to drive down and see that mountain, and to see all of these fresh faces out here this morning, and seeing them through my bloodshot eyes. It's a lovely, lovely thing. So I am very happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with my friends. I look around this room, I see people that I don't get a chance to see enough anymore. So in that, it's great. It's also great to be a part of an event that helps young people achieve their goals. Many of us, and I look around this room and I know that many of us have been very, very lucky. Those of us who played sports and who were able to go on and maybe capitalize on that, whether it's high school or some of us college, and in some cases those of us who played pro football and pro soccer and who will have the opportunity to play professional basketball or soccer, whatever. We have been blessed, and it is our responsibility. It's not just our pleasure. It is our responsibility to do something to make sure that those coming along have that same chance. That's why we're here today. It's really very simple. That's why we're here today, to make sure young people have that same chance to get an education, to go on with their studies, and to do great things in the community, like I know these young people that we've met this morning will be able to do. To do that, we need folding. We need cash. We need money. We need the opportunity to help these young people. So we're going to find a way to separate you from your hard-earned dollars in just about every way we can before we hear from our guest speaker, and that's the esteemed and one and only James Zorn. We have a raffle. Who got a ticket when they walked in? You coming, Tyler? Everybody get your ticket out real fast. Here you go. What do they win if they win the... Oh, wow. This is pretty good. Steve Rabel is the winner of the raffle. Isn't that amazing? What incredible luck that is. 2 nights at the Fairmount Hotel, Scottsdale. That's as in Arizona. Now, you know, this time of year, it's pretty nice up here. November, December, January, February, March, April. You'll want to keep this in mind. It is an ideal location. Leading hotel of the world, a 5-diamond resort. This is, again, 2 nights at the Fairmount Hotel, Scottsdale Princess, and the spa for 2. Here is the number. $280-490. 490. Somebody's got to have it, right? 490. 280-490. Really? No. All right, we're going to draw another one. You got to be here to win. Okay? That's amazing. All right, here we go. 280-662. Are you kidding? Oh, here we go. 662. Tyler, thanks. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Enjoy your trip to Arizona. All right, we've got a couple of live auction items we want to give you a chance to bid on. They were out at the door when we came in. I don't think, oh, yes, they are. They're right here. All right. This is part of it. Let me make sure it's both of them. It is.
I'll hold up the other part.
Okay. Thank you, Pete. So, anybody recognize the name Michael Dixon? Michael Dixon was the punter who the Seahawks drafted in, what, the 5th round, I think, Jim. You don't draft kickers. I mean, you just don't. That's kind of the rule of thumb, unless they're named Michael Dixon, unless they're from Australia, unless they play football and kick the football the way he does. He is absolutely amazing. Pro Bowler in his rookie season. This football signed by Michael Dixon. That shirt, it's actually a Metropolitan Grill up in Seattle State, one of the great steakhouses. It's the chef jacket, and it is signed by one Russell Wilson. Now, you know, you guys, Russell Wilson, everybody knows Russell. These things just don't happen. A chef, that means he was at an event. He goes to the Met after the games. I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but he'll go and have a steak after the game. And so they made this up for him, and he signed it. And this is now, you have the opportunity to have this. These two items are the first items up for bid on a quick live auction. Who will start us at $250? $250 for a football signed by Michael Dixon, already a Pro Bowler as a rookie. Right back there. Yes, you have your cards. Pick your card up. There's one back there, 250, sir. 3 to you. 300, 350, anybody? 350 right here. How about 4 to you back there, sir? 400 back there. 450, anyone? 450 up front. Hold your card up. There's, oh, very good. Does your dad know you're holding that up? I hope so. 450 right there. 500, anybody? 500 in the back. There's 500. 550, that's all for the youngster. 550, anybody? I have 500 back here. 550 up front. 6 to you, sir. 6 to you. 600. I have 550 here. 550 here. Anybody? 600, 600, 551. 600 from All City Fence. Thank you, sir. 600 just bid against himself. 600. 600 once. 600 twice. Last time for the... There's 600. 650? 650. I got 650 looking for 700 right there. 750 here. I got 750. 8 I'm looking for. 800 I'm looking for. 750. 758. 750 once. 750 twice. Last time, almost $1,000. Anybody? Sold. $750, sir. Thank you. Your bid number? Bid number 209, Tyler. And our final auction item. Grab them, Peter. You got them? This is spectacular. Now, I happen to be, I'm an all sports fan. I knew Jeff when he played for the Sounders. I mean, I knew all these guys. Jim, I remember him when he played for the Seahawks. He's a lot older than I am, but I remember. I'm a Mariners fan too, and it's tough some nights right now. They've kind of taken that little step back. They're retooling their team. They will be an excellent team in another year or two, but they're having some issues right now. But They are exciting. You can go to a game there and watch them put 14 runs on the board in a heartbeat. I mean, they'll come up with 8 or 9 in one inning. They're that exciting at times. You just have to get the right time. And here's your opportunity. You're going to get 4 terrace level tickets to a Mariners home game between now and September 29th. So take a look at that schedule. Find that game you want, terrace level. Can't get much better than that unless you're sitting in those diamond seats right behind home plate that Pete sits in all the time. 4 of these terrace level seats, and this is what makes this so special. Edgar Martinez going in to the Baseball Hall of Fame, a signed autographed jersey from the Mariners, and Edgar Martinez, one of the great gentlemen ever in baseball, and certainly one of the great ambassadors in our city to sports. These 2 items, 4 tickets, and an autographed jersey of a Hall of Famer. And Jim and I know when you auction a Hall of Famer's jersey, and we know a couple of them, they are the kinds of things you hang in the man cave or in the family room, and they're there for everybody to see for all time, that you have just a little remembrance of one of the great players ever. Who will start at $250 for these 2 items? There's $250. $400 to you, Alan. $400? $400. $5 to you, sir. $5 back there. $6 right there to you. $7 to you, sir. Who'll give me $8? $8 in the back. $9 to you, sir. $900. Who'll give me $1,000? $1,000 in the front. $1,200. $1,200. I've got $1,000. $1,200 right here again, bidding against himself. Bless your heart. $1,500, Jeff. $1,500. $2,000 to you. $2,000. $1,500. All of a sudden, you got real quiet. $1,500. $1,500 right here. $1,750. $1,500. I'm looking for $1,750. $1,750. Jeff, $2,000. $2,000. Anybody? $2,500. $2,250. I got $2,000 once. $2,000 twice. I don't think a $2 bill and a quarter are going to help, young man, but nice job. $2,000. Last final call. $2,000. Sold to Jeff Stock, our great friend, and a great friend to the Puget Sound. Jeffrey, thank you. All right. Now, for those of you that thought, I'd love to have that jersey, I just didn't get my bid card up fast enough. Here is your opportunity. This we affectionately call the ask in the business. Those of you that have been to these luncheons and these breakfasts know that this is the meat and potatoes. This is what we do. This is what I love about these events, because I get to ask. I get to ask you to help in any way you can. Here is the deal. This time, the program, we're going to ask all of you to dig just a little bit deeper and donate to the South King County Scholar Athlete Fund. This supports the efforts to raise scholarship funds for South King County athletes. All the athletes in the room, I had a chance to meet many of them out here. Just raise your hand, athletes. Just raise your hand so we can see all of the young men and women who are here joining us today and their coaches. Thank you for being the kind of young people that makes all of us proud, and that we are proud to be here to help out so early on this morning. Table captains, you know who you are. Grab that yellow or make that white envelope at the middle of the table. Grab that envelope. I want you to grab it thusly and open the envelope. As you reach inside, there will be, what is inside? I haven't looked. Take a look. Oh, there's cards. Great. Or they're little pieces of paper. They've got a couple of different copies on them. Pass those out around the table. This is your opportunity to sign in and bid, please. Sign in and make your presence known by giving as much as you can give. We would like to raise more than the $50,000 we raised here a year ago. We're off to a good start, but we've got more that we can raise, and we need your help to do that. So let's see if we can hit 75,000. Let's see if we can double it up and hit 100,000 for this scholarship fund this morning. That would be fabulous. But that means everybody is going to have to give until it really feels good. Give until you know you are helping these young people go on, not only playing sports, but go on with their education. Pass those sheets out. Everybody fill them in if you can. Tear off the yellow copy, the second sheet. That is yours as a receipt. So you keep that, put the white copy back in the envelope, and those big white envelopes are going to be collected. There are pens. They should be on the table. fill them out. If you need a pen, we will make sure that we get one to you. We take, I don't know if we take cash. I probably don't. But, MasterCard, Visa, we'll take a gas credit card. You got a Costco card, we'll take that. You name it, we'll take it. But fill out all the information. Yes, Pete, you have something for me? Oh, okay, thank you. The silent auction items out there, we're going to pull those bid sheets in 2 minutes. I would prefer that all of you stay sitting here so that we can continue the program. But if you know that there's an item out there you have to have and you want to go check it, 2 minutes before those bid sheets get pulled. Fill out, if you would, for as much as you possibly can. If you can do $250, if you can do $500 or $1,000, that is magnificent. And we very much appreciate it. Please fill out those forms. Take the yellow copy, that's yours. Put the white copy back in the envelope. They will be picked up after the breakfast is over. All right, we'll give you a couple more seconds to finish filling that out. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you real quickly about my relationship with our keynote speaker today. In 1976, the Seahawks were just the Seahawks. They were just literally beginning as the Seahawks. 1975, Seattle was awarded a football team in the National Football League. In 1976, the Seahawks were born. And we all went to training camp. We all went to mini camp that first April and then training camp in Cheney. How many people have been to Cheney, Washington? God bless you. Great place to be from. It's a lovely, lovely place. It's very hot in the summer in Cheney. We went through, well, Jim was there longer than I, but we went through 6 training camps together. I don't know that I ever had a better teammate. I don't know that I ever had a guy who enjoyed what he did more as a teammate than Jim Zorn. I was one of those guys, and all of you student athletes, close your ears. I was one of those guys who kind of enjoyed playing sports, but I also enjoyed after the game. And Jim was one of the first people I ever knew who said, I love practice. I never knew anybody that loved practice. Cheney, Washington, there was nothing to love about practice. It was 150 degrees and we were out there in full gear for 2.5 hours in the afternoon and 2 hours in the morning. Jim loved practice. I remember Jim and I going to a banquet one night together, and very much like this, and there were some young people there, and we opened it up for Q&A afterwards. And one of the young people put up his hand, and Jim pointed to him and said, yes. And said, Mr. Zorn, what's it like to be a pro quarterback? And so Jim said, well, it's great. And he answered the question very nicely. And then the next young man put his hand up and he said, Mr. Zorn, what's it like to throw a touchdown pass to Steve Largent? Well, it's great. Steve is a great receiver, and I got a lot of great teammates. And another young man put up his hand. Mr. Largent, Mr. Zorn, what's it like to be a star and to have people call your name when they see you on the street? He said, well, it's okay. I like it, but I like my privacy too. And then Jim kind of looked sort of sheepishly, and he said, hey, guys, Steve Rabel is here with me. Somebody have a question for Mr. Rabel? And a young man put his hand up, and he said, Mr. Rabel, would you ask Mr. Zorn, what's it like to... That's what it's like being with Jim Zorn. And now Jim Zorn has gone from player to assistant coach to trainer of great and teacher of great quarterbacks to head coach in the National Football League to coordinator to you name it, and now head coach and general manager of the new XFL franchise coming to Seattle. They'll start playing in February. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Jim Zorn.
Well, good morning, everyone. Raves, thanks for the introduction. I do remember I actually added up all the weeks that I spent living in the dorms at Eastern Washington State College. I spent over a year of my life in the dorms there. Can you imagine spending a whole year of your life sitting on laying on a kind of a half bed, right? No, yeah, we didn't. You had to rent air conditioners if you wanted air conditioning in your dorm room. I spent over a year of my life living in those dorms. I do remember our very first year. We had a linebacker, his name was Mike Curtis, if you remember. He was at the tail end of his career, and he had come to Seattle to help us kind of start whatever traditions we were going to start. And he was kind of a salty linebacker. And I do remember Mike Curtis creating a huge stir one practice. He was wondering, because it was going to be 105 that particular day, and he had called the NFLPA office to see if it was legal for our coaching staff to put us out on the field if it was 105 degrees. And I thought, wow, he's so wise. He's such a great teammate. And they pretty much said, oh yeah, you have to go out. And I will tell you this, what Raves alluded to, all that time that we spent, it was so hot. Jack Patera, who was our head coach at the time, think about this, he had come from a program up in Minnesota that didn't allow water on the field. So my entire career with Jack Patera in Cheney, even at 105 degrees, we had no water at practice. So we used to pay our ball boys who would come out, we used to pay them to smuggle ice chips in towels. And we'd be in that, just watching, you'd act like you were wiping your face off and you were eating ice chips to try to stay hydrated. So we understood in the beginning of our Seahawk days, we understood what it was to pre-hydrate. Jack didn't have to say that too many times. And then we had to figure out, we were kind of a sly group. We had to figure out how to stay hydrated in that kind of heat. I can't imagine sending athletes out today without that proper care of hydration, nutrition, and things like that. But we did it. And we didn't have, maybe one time every summer, somebody would fall out and have to go get IVs, but not many. We actually survived. Anyway, thank you so much for coming here and supporting, I can't say Pete, actually this whole Federal Way, Auburn area, with your physical support and your monetary support as well. When I was growing up, I remember today, but not often as I was growing up, who were these, who were behind all these programs. I think as a young athlete, it's just assumed there's going to be high school sports and there's going to be coaches. The school's going to provide all of this for us. And as a young athlete, in my arena, my parents did not take me out to have private lessons, be on teams that were in the community but not at the school. I got to play school sports. That was it. And if I was going to excel, I was going to excel at school. And really without my parents ever thinking that I was ever going to be an athlete to take my talent beyond high school. Our family grew up. My mom expected me, after I graduated from high school, to go get a job, right? She was done paying for my way after high school. And I remember asking her, let me, I love this game of football so much. Let me go to a junior college and play 2 more years. That's all I want. I want 2 more years of football. And so she agreed. It was a school that was very close to our house, and I got to go there for 2 more years. Then, unbeknownst to me and everybody else, I got a half scholarship to go to the football powerhouse, Cal Poly Pomona. It was an ag school. We had the greatest turf field, grass field in Pomona, California. It was just awesome. But the people who came to watch us play were our parents and the band. I don't even think we had cheerleaders. but we played on a great field, a great track. And I got to play beyond my junior college, my first 2 years, and I played 2 more, and then had the opportunity to be an NFL player. So the point that I want to make is all through elementary school, where I never got picked for a sport, into high school, that the high school coaches committed to all the athletes on their team. I never really, I never had that dream that I would go on and play at any level higher than high school, and I had the opportunity. But the reason that I did, and this is my point, was kind of for all of those people who supported me without me even knowing them. It was the coaches, the administrators, my parents, allowing me to stay at it without forcing me to go get a job and just start it into my life. And that's one thing that I want to really relate to the young athletes today. You don't really know any of the names of the people that are truly supporting you, except for maybe your family and your coaches. You don't realize how many others in the community are wanting you to succeed. You're doing it yourself, you're putting in your effort, and yet it's the unknown person like yourself who's here today supporting these athletes, young men, young women, and they'll never know your name. I think that is absolutely commendable, and I tip my hat to you, because they wouldn't be able to play sport if they didn't have the high school coaches, but then your financial support and your moral support by being a fan. They wouldn't have that opportunity. So I thank you for that. And it meant a lot to me growing up, maybe more today than it did while I was playing, right? Sort of like delay satisfaction, but also delayed appreciation for what all the people in my community did for me without me asking, without me even knowing who they were, and there's many. So as you young athletes look around today at some of these adults, and everybody's here in different capacities, don't, as you're looking at your coaches, great, they're committed, right? They're helping you improve your talent, pushing you beyond what you could absolutely think about doing yourself. That's what we're here for. I remember Tom Landry always, I was with the Cowboys in think about how old I am, in 1975, before Raves was even out of college. I was already an NFL player with the Dallas Cowboys. And Tom Landry, he was the head football coach in Dallas. And Tom Landry always said one of the reasons that he was a coach is to help players punish themselves. That's what he was there for. His mentality was, I have to help you punish yourself so you can become a better player. And I never forgot that. He was nice about it, right? He was a great coach, but he knew that we had to work beyond our comfort zone. And that's what coaches do, and that's why coaches are so appreciated after the fact. In years to come, you athletes will remember your high school coaches, your college coaches, your NFL coaches. Raves and I were coached in Seattle. Jack Patera was the head coach. He had his ways. We hated it. We would complain. We would moan and groan. And yet, I loved it. He's right. I really enjoyed it. And you appreciate those days after they're over. And many of you adults remember what it was like in your schools and in your programs. I would say most athletes are absolutely privileged and don't know it. They're privileged and don't even know it. So I commend you, and I appreciate your support, and I hope that as years go by, that you young athletes sit in this room someday because of your success in the past and be able to support future athletes, young men, young women, as they continue to develop and grow in this community. So, gosh, there's huge appreciation for all that you do. Thank you so much. Raves, I thought it'd be nice for you and I to just sort of rip each other a little
Sure.
bit.
Well, we'll ramble just for a couple of minutes because we want to get everybody out of here in time to go to work on Monday. A couple of things. You mentioned Jack Patera, you mentioned Tom Landry. I'd never heard that about Tom. Jack Patera's favorite saying was, "We'll tolerate you till we can replace you." Now, just stop and think about it. That was the first thing we heard in our first meeting in 1976. Bunch of guys, were wide-eyed, we're ready to go play professional football. We'll tolerate you till we can replace you. But you know what? That was a really good point to make, because he's right. That's the business. And you know what? Business owners, it's in every walk of life. You don't do the job, somebody else will come in and do it for you. Which leads me to my question, James. We talk about these young athletes who are here today, and they're a great looking bunch. But you know what they are, and I think, Alan, you mentioned this, they're student athletes. And the important part of that equation is the first part, the student part. Talk about the importance of getting that education, because we have been around this game of football a long time, and most people are not, most young people and most young men are not going to make it to this level. The importance of that education.
Well, that's a great question, and I remember being in high school thinking that athletics, that was just what I did, and yet I spent some wasteful moments, and we didn't even have the internet yet, but I spent just time not concentrating on being that student that I could have been. Not until I got to Cal Poly Pomona. And I remember being at Cal Poly and them not caring about our football team. And I could hear many rumors and many comments about how other programs really catered to their athletes. Not so much Cal Poly. When you went to Cal Poly Pomona, it was almost the same idea. We will tolerate you until we can replace you if you don't commit and you don't understand what it is to be a student here first. And they helped me to realize, I have to make myself learn this stuff, right, in all my classes. And actually helped me further, it helped me along in my playing days to be really committed to something and to really dedicate time and priority to get myself through the university system. So I would say I didn't realize it until I got out how important your education really is. And I would say, if you are spending time doing other things and just trying to make it through, I know that you're, and I'm talking to the younger athletes, you're so much smarter than you're probably giving yourself. You're so much smarter, and yet, if you create idle time for yourself and do nothing, you pretty much get back what that expectation is, nothing. So you really do have to push yourself, and you're really denying yourself present pleasures for future benefits. That's what I would say a student athlete has to realize in his life. And it's super important. If you don't realize it now, you will realize it, and there'll be time to even maybe recover, you're hoping, but I would say it's so much easier if you dedicate yourself in your academics for future business. Many players, and I would say, Steve, what'd you have, six years? I remember throwing a few passes to you.
Yes, 6 years. 6 years. When you looked out there wide, that was me out there clearing out so you could throw the large.
I always tell Steve too, I've thrown probably the best pass of my life to Steve in a game against the Oakland Raiders, which was our rival at the time. And I'll always remember it. I can still picture it. It was a corner route from the inside, 3 wide receivers. You were the inside guy. And I can still picture that. But Steve went into broadcasting. He went into his career, and we all did when I played, because there wasn't the set, if you will, in NFL contracts at the time. So we all had to work. And I would tell you that a lot of athletes came through the Seattle Seahawks system that got into their life's work very quickly. And they were glad they were good students and good student athletes at the time.
Here's another line. I love this line. Be ashamed to die until you have won at least one small battle for humanity. Let it sink in. Basically what it means is every day go out and try to, in the words of our former president, be useful, be of use to someone. Make yourself known in the community by what you do, not by what you say. Jim has been in this community a long time. We all have. Peter, Jeff, the importance of being that part of the community, of not only helping at breakfast like this, but being a part of your school, your church group, your city leadership. How important is that?
Well, first of all, I'm absolutely humbled by seeing so many friends that I have out in the audience who have been a much better friend to me than I've probably been to them, except for Peter, of course, because he bugs me all the time. But I've known Peter longer than I've been married, right? Gosh, so long. Anyway, he's still bothering me. Anyway, super close friend. He's done far more for me than I could ever imagine, and I truly appreciate my friendship with him, with Raves, with so many of you out there. And I'm just humbled by it because I don't deserve it. And as far as me trying to do great things, I can't do the kinds of things that you people do, and I know many of you. You're not only local communities, but then that spreads out throughout the state of Washington. I love being here. I love being a resident in the state. I love my own community, but there's tremendous value in it, and I probably don't do it because I'm running around, ripping around, trying to be a good husband and a good dad. Now I'm trying to be a good grandfather. It's busy, but there's always time to give back, and I don't give back as much as I know many of you do out here. So I'd be ashamed to even talk about the things that I do, just knowing some of the people that I see that I've been friends with over the years, including you, Ray.
I got one quick question. We've got 45 seconds.
That's impossible.
Yeah, for you it is. Coach, general manager, what's this new league, the XFL, going to be like?
Okay, so I recently committed to being the head coach of a new football league. It's a pro league. It's called the XFL. You've got to go on the internet and look it up. There's 8 teams. We start our season a week after the Super Bowl. So on February 8th in CenturyLink Field, if we have a home game, we'll be there. And we have 8 teams. We're going to play 10 games, 5 home games in CenturyLink, and then 5 away games. We have 1 playoff weekend, and then we have the championship on April 26th. So think about that. It's not the NFL, it's the XFL, and this is Vince McMahon's league, and this is his second go-around in a football program. The first one was unsuccessful, as are all of the football programs that come after the NFL. No one has survived except for the CFL. So Vince has recommitted. He's, I can't say he's doubled down, but he has definitely committed a pretty good foundation of money, time, effort to have a successful league other than the NFL. It's not to compete against the NFL, it's only to compete in a separate entity as itself. Whether we have a relationship with the NFL in the future remains to be seen, but I think it has to be because we're successful ourselves. So it's a much more family-friendly ticket price, but it's in February. You get to sit in the rain. I'm sure we'll be giving, well, I don't know if Vince will be giving out raincoats, but we might be selling raincoats. Anyway, you gotta come out and see us. We are gonna have a really fun program because you've got a bunch of players who are players who have been cut and they wanna be an NFL player. They have been cut and they just wanna continue to play for a few more years. That's the kind of player we're gonna have. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got some great coaches. I'm way above my level of coaching because of the coaches that I have to come in and be assistant coaches. We're going to have a pretty good program. We're going to practice in Seattle and we're going to play at CenturyLink. Check us out online. I don't know the name and I don't know the colors of our team yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's not going to be a contest for that. Vince McMahon, he's choosing the names.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Zorn. All right, I will. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks. It has been really a great pleasure to be here with you. With these young people, I wish you all the best. Remember some of the words of advice you heard here this morning. And again, you make that opportunity to give back when your chance comes to sit in this audience and help some other young person. In the meantime, have a great rest of the weekend. Watch for the XFL coming up in February. Get your raincoats now. Have a great day. I'll see you on Channel 7 on Monday night.